Portal 2, Firewatch, and the Stanley Parable. What do these games have in common? They're all critically acclaimed hits from the 2010s? No, well yes, but that's not what this video is about. These games are all horror games. And before long, I think you'll agree with me. Hi, I'm Try, and I've been thinking a lot recently about fear. Maybe it's just life right now, but I always end up relating those real feelings back to video games, because games can hold emotions in a way nothing else really can. And that actually reminds me of one of the most common questions we get in Icebreakers. First day of class, work, even a first date. What's your biggest fear? Well, my answer has always been the same. It's oddly specific, but very on brand for me. It's a scene from SpongeBob. Season 1, Episode 14, SB 129. And I'll just play it.
I may finally have found a place where I can be all alone.
Hello.
Alone.
Hello.
Alone.
Alone.
I gotta get out of here!
The idea of being alone, of isolation, that's what's scary. That's horror to me. Now many games do this, so what's so special about these 3 games that I had to single them out? Let's start with Portal 2. From the very beginning of the game, your expectations are completely flipped on its head. If you haven't played Portal 1, which in my case I hadn't, I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know where the game was taking place, what the backstory was, or where it was going. You start in a quaint little room that immediately gets demolished and you're suddenly following whatever the robot not trying to kill you says. The post-apocalyptic vibes of Portal 2 are already unsettling as is, but at one of the biggest turning points in the game, you end up falling down a pit into Old Aperture where you become acquainted with Cave Johnson, the original founder of Aperture Science, voiced by the fantastic J.K. Simmons. This is where the real horror of the game takes place. You're hearing a human voice, but it's distant. It's not someone you're talking to, but it feels like you're almost having a conversation with him as you make discoveries and progress through Old Aperture. You figure out why Aperture may have failed and led to it being in the current state it's in. From wacky experiments to bad business ventures, the history is rich, but doesn't come from someone talking to you in person. It's all over these pre-recorded messages, and it almost makes you feel even more alone than you did before.
Sir, the testing?
Right. Now you might be asking yourself, Cave, just how difficult are these tests? What was in that phone book of a contract I signed? Am I in danger? Let me answer those questions with a question. Who wants to make $60? Cash. You can also feel free to relax for up to 20 minutes in the waiting room, which is a damn sight more comfortable than the park benches most of you were sleeping on when we found you. So, welcome to Aperture. You're here because we want the best, and you're it. Nope. Couldn't keep a straight face. Anyway, don't smudge up the glass down there. In fact, why don't you just go ahead and not touch anything unless it's test related.
Firewatch is the most recent experience I've had of these 3 games, and it had a pretty big impact on me in the maybe 2 days it took to complete it. This game at its core is a walking simulator. There isn't very much strategy to any of it. It's a narrative that you play through and control, and it's actually the time spent walking between story beats that adds to the horror and fear in this game. In Firewatch, you play as Henry, a man who runs away from his problems only to find more as a fire lookout in the Wyoming wilderness in 1989. You learn a lot about Henry through his conversations with Delilah, his supervisor who is also a Firewatch at a nearby watch point. There's a pretty big mystery that you have to unravel as you complete tasks across the summer and try to figure out what's causing these strange events to take place. I'm purposefully trying to be vague because the mystery is what makes the game so great, and the dialogue is done so well that it's really all you need to create feelings of longing, loneliness, happiness, sadness, and yes, fear. There are tense moments that will have you moving from objective to objective, and just like real life, there's no fast travel points or speed potions to get you there faster. I love Firewatch, and Firewatch is a great horror game because it makes you chew on these conversations and situations in between the action. You're forced to take the long route, so to speak, and while you may feel like you're moving slow, your mind is most definitely racing. You're thinking about worst case scenarios, and the game does a great job at continuing to keep this fear and paranoia throughout the whole game. Delilah isn't someone you see, you don't know what she looks like, and you have no in-person experience here. You're talking to someone, and yet you feel alone. The last game is the Stanley Parable, and I remember watching a YouTuber play through this game when it first came out, because I was like 13 and had no means of playing it. And that's also what I do when I'm interested in traditional horror games but have no desire to play it. I watch a YouTuber play it instead. I have no problem watching a horror movie, but as soon as I'm given control, I just can't do it. Games could be objectively less scary than a movie from a viewer's standpoint, but controlling the fate of your character just adds so much pressure and stress that I think really showcases how powerful video games are as a medium. It's why there always seems to be a super popular horror game trending. But back to the Stanley Parable, we, like the past two games, never see another human. It's just us, our decisions, and a disembodied voice narrating our experience. The uneasiness I felt while playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, which came out a few years ago, was something that felt familiar. It's just like exploring old Aperture or walking through the Wyoming brush of Firewatch. If you haven't played or heard of the Stanley Parable, it's a game with so many different endings triggered by choices you, the player, or Stanley, make. The narrator remembers choices you made in the past and always has an opinion on whatever choice you make, which can guide you to a, quote, normal ending, where you do exactly as he says, or literally any other ending that will be caused by you almost always intentionally deviating from the natural path. There's an ending that gets really strange, which involves you progressing time at the click of a button, and you physically see the landscape around you change with the passage of time, and the narrator reacts in this existentialism you would have never expected to be in a video game. That wasn't the Stanley Parable. But this specific ending just stuck with me. And it's so obviously this game's version of Squidward being alone.
We shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was... Well, there's sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest, I don't even know if one can change. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking, and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't.
What ties these games together isn't monsters, jump scares, or things lurking in the dark. It's the quiet. It's the space to sit with your own thoughts, the voice that's just far enough away to make you wonder if you're really alone. Portal 2, Firewatch, and the Stanley Parable understand that horror isn't always something chasing you. Sometimes it's the realization that no one is. These games force us to confront that empty space, and in doing so, they remind us that the scariest place we can be is face to face with ourselves. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing and sharing it with a friend. I upload every single week. If you want to help me keep this whole YouTube content creation dream alive, you can become a member on YouTube, a sub on Twitch, or a patron on Patreon. I'm currently working towards a goal of 30 new channel members and have 6 so far. If you want to be part of the Try community, come join the Shape Squad on Discord. I love interacting with y'all there. Links to all those platforms are in the description down below. If you want to know my thoughts on FOMO and how it affects the game industry, check out the video that'll pop up. Thanks for watching, I appreciate you being here, and as always...
Thank you for all your support!